Hey guys, what's going on? Sandy here. Sorry if the video is a little dark. Don't have really light. Don't have good lighting. I kind of just decided to make this video because of something that just happened. So I was just in an argument with a family member about ancient aliens and how, if you're not familiar with this theory, hypothesis, because it's not a theory. Basically, it states that in ancient history, aliens came down from wherever to give humans resources and tools to show them how to build certain structures like the pyramids and to basically help them along in their development. And this claim is pretty shaky evidence-wise. There's not a lot of solid evidence to prove that it's the case, and most evidence that it does have, such as hieroglyphics and things like that, can basically be dismissed by saying that, well, a lot of human nature is wonder and imagination, and ancient cultures looking up at the sky. It's not really too difficult to believe that they might imagine, hey, wow, maybe there's some life up there too, and spaceships were a science fiction idea long before we had aircraft and things like that. So it's not really too much of a stretch to say that just the imaginations of the ancient people led them to drawing such images. And considering that there's no other physical evidence to say that these aliens came down from Earth, kind of, the hieroglyphics would have a lot more weight if there was actually some physical evidence to prove that aliens came down. Like, for example, if the ancient structure Pumapunku was actually impossible for people to build, well then, that plus glyphs of of aliens in ancient civilizations, yeah, maybe those two things, hey, that could be part of evidence. But hieroglyphics, I would say, are circumstantial at best. So the conversation kind of devolved into talking about unfalsifiable hypotheses and tolerance of belief and the nature of reality, I guess. And so I wanted to just discuss like that because my mind is racing, as I was pretty upset talking about this stuff, considering it was a very circular argument where nobody would give an inch, so to say, or actually what the other party used as a tactic was to agree with everything I would say, but then somehow come to a different conclusion, even though they said that they agreed with all of the points that I was bringing up, which is very frustrating. I would rather somebody just, not be able to comprehend what I'm even talking about than for them to just agree and say, yep, oh, that makes sense. Every single logical point makes sense up until the conclusion, but that doesn't make sense, and there's a different conclusion that comes out of that. So an unfalsifiable hypothesis is a hypothesis that cannot be proven wrong. So if I were to say something like that there's a demon on my back who talks to me, but you can't see him and you can't show him through MRIs or thermal imaging, there's no way to see him or talk to him. Only I can communicate with him and only I know he's there. Do you believe that? would you believe that? I don't think that you would, because there's no evidence to prove that, and there's no, precedent for that even being a thing at all. So why would you believe that without evidence? You wouldn't. And even though you can't prove me wrong, that there's not a demon on my back, you still would have to just dismiss that claim. That was a technique of who I was arguing with, to just say, well, you can't prove me wrong. You can't prove me wrong, so that must mean I'm right. So I'm going to believe what I want to believe, because you can't prove me wrong and there's nothing you can do about it, so I'm right. Well, that is not how reality works, okay? There is one reality. There's a physical world around everyone, and it's the same for everyone, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I believe. It doesn't matter what you believe. If every single person in the whole world believed that the world was flat, the world still would not be flat. And so that must mean there's an objective reality to be had. So unless we are talking about ideological differences, such as socialism versus capitalism, or certain ideas of parenting or something like that, I mean, there's not a clear right or wrong answer. But in terms of a physical historical event, that does have a real answer. Either aliens came down and helped humans, or they didn't. Now, considering there's no evidence to believe that they did, the default belief is that they didn't. That is completely logical, and it's incomprehensible to me why anyone would think that they did come down. Just because they it's possible. That's another thing that was being talked about a lot, was, oh, well, there's a possibility. I guess there's a possibility, but is it likely? No, it's not likely. So why am I going to believe something just because it's possible? I'm not gonna believe that shit, dude. Another point that was consistently brought up was the fact that in the past a lot of people believed stuff, but then it turned out that they were wrong. Yep, that does happen, but in a lot of cases it's not evidence-based of why somebody is wrong. It's more ideological in nature. Like, for example, a lot of people did not believe that the world was flat, even though Galileo was like, dudes, shit's flat. The Greeks knew it, I know it, you should know it too. Turns out that all the people that didn't believe him were wrong. Yeah, so that happens. That does happen. People, general consensus of things can be proven to be false, but more often than not, if all evidence points to one thing, usually, unless some giant, monstrous piece of evidence came out that, like, maybe if we legitimately do find an aircraft under a pyramid, then yeah, I will say, okay, probably aliens were there, but it would still be very strange as to why all the evidence before that pointed to it not happening, which is why I would say, yeah, there's probably not any spaceships in the Earth. So the last point that I want to talk about. I don't know if I'm rambling. I don't even care if this video is good. I'm just, I just am talking talking. The last point I wanted to discuss is tolerance of beliefs. Now, during this argument, I got well, very upset. I will say I could not control my frustration and anger at the situation. Voices were raised, I will say that. Now, there's a difference between tolerating a person who believes something and the belief itself. In the case of religion, I am a very, I don't know, I'm an anti-theist. I do not believe that religions are good for society. I do not believe that people that believe in them, that it's good for them in any way to believe in that sort of thing. And I think that most people would be better off if they just accepted, the truth of, I mean, I guess it's arrogant to say that, oh, I'm 100% right, I know that I'm right, but until I am legitimately proven wrong through scientific evidence, through physical evidence, then, I mean, that's the only conclusion that one can come to, is that they're right about a certain thing. I mean, if there's nothing, whatever, okay. But there's a difference between saying what you believe is stupid, and it doesn't make any sense to think any of these things. Why are you doing that? And I think that your beliefs are dumb, to saying you're a piece of shit and I hate you, fuck you, because you believe this. I think that that's, you can say that if you want to, and you can definitely, I think it's very valid to remove people from your life based on beliefs, because beliefs are what informs actions, and if somebody believes something crazy, I think that says a lot about them and how their mind works. And I think that it's not a leap to say that because they believe this crazy thing that they might, behave a certain way. So I don't know if any of that made sense or if anybody even cares, but that's what I wanted to talk about right now. Next week, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. I think that this is a subscriber-only video, so if you're subscribed, then you'll see this. But if you're not, then you probably won't, because I'm not going to put it on my Facebook or anything like that. Just wanted to get this off my chest. Next week we're going to have the Sandy and Spencer Show episode 2, and I'm working on getting a guest, like I said, like we were talking about, from Tinder. Hopefully that will come to fruition, because I think that would be so much fun to actually meet somebody on a recorded podcast. So, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week with my boy Spence. Peace out, dude.